Greetings, students. I thought we'd take a look at two things, which are how we're starting off our course in Unit 1. So I am still getting up the quizzes. I didn't get to those yet, but I have everything else basically ready to go. Certainly for the bulk of the course, there's a couple little, like the quizzes, for example, I'm going to add, but everything else should be in place. So let's take a look at how we're starting things off. Let's see, we got our essay 1, we got activity 1. The first essay is really just what we're doing here is we're kind of setting up the rest of the course. In this course, we're going to work on like a core concept. So you want to choose something in the beginning that is something that you're interested in and something that you want to know more about. I would, just as a suggestion in doing this myself, I would try to choose something that is recent. Maybe try to choose something that has some I mean, I think maybe I got lucky with mine, but I ended up choosing something that had a lot of what you would call, working parts or moving parts. And maybe another way to look at it would be just to say that there are several different interested parties. There are several different parties or groups of people involved. That can be key. So when you're trying to figure out like what should I choose to write about, and how's this set up the rest of the course, you want to basically think about that, right? Does this topic have multiple groups involved that may have different opinions or different perspectives? Like I'll show you. I don't know if I wrote it in this one. No, I wrote it in like the prompt for essay 2. But in the prompt for essay 2, I talk about uh, learning about reclaimed water. It was something just that caught my interest in the news recently, and I got lucky. Like I was mentioning a second ago, I think I got lucky with that one because when I followed through and I did this whole process with that as a topic, I found that yeah, there were enough groups involved. I think that's probably the biggest challenge in choosing a topic is you want to choose a topic that is going to involve at least five groups of people. These could be community organizations, these could be businesses, corporations, civil organizations. In my case, I was writing about reclaimed water, and I found that there were several government agencies that um, I would have to learn about and write to for I think it was essay 3 in this class. So those would be my suggestions as far as choosing a topic for your annotated bibliography. As you can see, the first essay is actually pretty easy. We're just collecting information and creating an annotated bibliography. So it's not even an essay. You're researching. You're developing. The idea here with Unit 1 is to develop and to have at your fingertips a uh, vast amount of research that relates to your topic. You get to choose the topic, any topic that you want, right? I would just try to make sure you pick something complex and something that has some different moving parts and maybe some different people or groups of people involved. I think that's, like I said, that's kind of that's going to be helpful when we get to essay 3. Okay, so that's pretty much how I would get started thinking about essay 1 and how that your topic is going to tie into the rest of the course. Okay, so that's it for essay 1. All we're doing with essay 1 is you're creating an annotated bibliography. As far as the annotated bibliography itself, what I do is in the lecture, I break it down. So let's see if we go to content. This would be, of course, Unit 1. This is Unit 1. So when we go to Unit 1, we're going to find a couple of things here. Actually, there are several lectures because I want to give you um, everything that you need and things that you might want. But as far as things that you need, essay writing. The essay writing lecture not only covers the basics of essay writing, but also covers some things that are important and are going to be things that are going to come up later in the course. So I would definitely look at the essay writing lecture, and these are videos actually I made about researching. But as far as Unit 1, we're looking at research. It's going to bring you here, so take a look there. And what you will find in that lecture, here I'll bring up a copy of it here in my notes. What you will find in there is information on how to write an annotated bibliography. Sorry, all right. So we get to actually the bibliography parts right at the beginning. So from page 4 to page 9, that's what it covers. So here, let me go ahead and explain it real quickly. The basic idea here, this is page 4 in the Unit 1 lecture. Like I said, these next couple pages go over what the annotated bibliography is. Basically, it's a pretty simple concept. I mean, the annotated bibliography, it looks like a works cited page. It's a works cited page. The main difference between an annotated bibliography and a works cited page, of course, is the annotation. So what it looks like visually is you have your works cited page. And then between each entry, the works cited entries, you have a paragraph. So you have an entry, and then you have a paragraph. And in that paragraph, they're usually, like on average, 150 to 250 words per annotation. It's kind of like your average annotation word count. And this gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points that you want to hit in that paragraph. So you want to address these 5 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And some of these are, like number 2, for example, it has 2 things in there. Number 4 has 2 points in there. If you go through the lecture, you'll find, it gives you tips on all of this. So if you want to know what does ethos mean? Ethos is credibility. You want to establish the author's credibility, and it gives you a 5-step process there in order to do that. Identifying the medium, that's pretty self-explanatory there. You're just saying, what type of text is this? Is it a newspaper? Is it a academic article? Genre just clarifies that down a little bit further. Number 3 asks you to look at your source and figure out what kind of data is in there. Is it a study, for example? Does it have quotes from credible experts? Is it have data statistics? Or is it just a memoir or a personal narrative? These are things that you need to know and you need to think about as you're doing research. So that's what I want you to put here, is just you looking at your source and asking these questions about this source. Do I have, what kind of information, what kind of data am I getting from this source? Part 4, identify the audience and the purpose of your text. And again, there's a page on that. Audience, you're narrowing it down by level of education, field of study, level of education, field of study, and purpose. Think about PI, purpose. A good way to think about identifying the author's purpose is just to think about basically any text is going to use some element of PI, if not all 3. So that would be, of course, persuade, inform, entertain. A good text, whether you're talking about a video or a text that you're reading, they will have one of these 3 goals in mind, and sometimes they'll have all of these goals in mind. You can use that to help answer that question. And the last one is, I said, how will you use this source in your research paper? I'm gonna, sorry, that's what I use for my other class. I will change that and update that. A more general, open-ended question there, something easy to answer. All right, so that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you want to do at least 5 sources, 1 entry per source, and that should get you there. All right, so that's Essay 1 in a nutshell. And let's take a look at the activity that goes along with that. Of course, you'll find this under Unit 1. You can also find it under Assessments, under Activities. So either one there. Obviously, you can look right here. You can get your Activity 1, which is here. But let's go ahead and take a look at it on through the. I showed you that way already, so I'll show you this way. Right. So if you go to your content page, make sure you go to Unit 1. Make sure to go to the appropriate unit, and then basically the activities are close to the bottom, so you'll find that there. And if I have a sample, I will put that up. In this case, there is one. Yeah, so let's go ahead and open that activity there. I already have that out, so there we go. All the activities are about 1 to 2 pages in length. Like I said, in this first one, you're basically doing some things in Unit 1 to set up the rest of the course. So the first thing I want you to do is think about your topic, state the topic, and of course, as it says there, any subtopics. Think about who is involved, and this is actually a really important question. This is going to help you out with, say, Essay 3. So I would do as much as you can there, so you have a good understanding of who's involved. That's only going to help you out later in the class. What major speeches or publications have been made on the topic? State the title and author of at least 3 documents. And what is at least one major term that you think would be helpful to define in regards to the topic? Got my term there. And then number 5, what's your personal opinion on the topic? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's our activity 1. We're doing that this week and next week. Be the kind of timeline for that. The quiz, like I said, is not up there yet, and because of that, of course, I'm going to give you an extra week on the quiz. This in no way is going to come out of your time that I didn't have the quiz up in time. Of course, I will give you guys that time back, and I apologize for not having the quiz up right away. It was my intention. Everything looked fine to me, but I was quickly realized that things were a bit off there. Okay, so it looked good. Everything looks set here. So activity 1, essay 1, that's how to get started. And don't worry about quiz 1. I am fixing that, and I will give you an extra week on that. Okay, so everything here looks good. And as far as you may be wondering if you looked at the announcements that things things didn't look right to me on the first day. It didn't look right to you either, I'm sure. But as far as the calendar, none of that changes. The readings and the videos, I will update those. Like those 2 things will change, but none of the assignment dates are changed. Everything is like exactly the way it's stated here. So, you can just refer to the calendar already and refer to it and see that the assignments are all in the right places. Sorry, I meant to take that off. Okay, and yeah, so like I said, look forward. Today I'm gonna get to updating the readings and the videos, and hopefully this gives you a good idea of how to get started on activity 1 and essay 1. Now remember, the essay 1 is just an annotated bibliography, so you let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.